RMC continued work on the Outerbank airtime hill and double up this week, and we've got new signs of when the barrel roll might be coming. Let's talk about this week's updates. What's up guys, Dr. Coaster here on behalf of the Georgia Coaster Connection, and welcome back to another ArieForce One Construction update. Before we get started, I just want everyone to know that all photos and footage included in any of these construction updates are free to use with credit. I'd also like to thank my Georgia Coaster Connection partner Christopher as we gathered this content together. I'll link his pages down below. And seriously guys, go check out his Instagram and his YouTube page where he started posting some YouTube shorts. These updates wouldn't be possible without him, but I'll get more into that later. Which brings me to my next point. Because in the process of making this video, I'm also making a channel update video that I will be uploading at the same time of this video. I'll have it linked in the description and the end card of this video. Be sure to go check it out. It's got some important information about the future of these ArieForce One construction updates. Now without further ado, let's get into this week's updates. Fall is now in full swing down south in the state of Georgia, and Fun Spot's big summer event has come to a close. All the Fun Spot photo spots have now been exchanged from summer to Halloween. If you're looking for some family-friendly Halloween fun in the Atlanta area, this is definitely a place to check out. The skeletons are riding the mine carts and there's pumpkins everywhere. The atmosphere is just incredible. Getting into the ArieForce One construction updates now. I made my way back out to Fun Spot Atlanta this Saturday to check in on the progress of ArieForce One construction, and I was super pleased with what I found. Upon entering the park, it was clear that RMC had continued construction on not only the Outerbank airtime hill, but also the big drop. So I went ahead and headed to the back of the park to start these construction updates how I always do, by checking in on the progress behind the arcade. When I got there, didn't seem like much was going on. In recent weeks, we had seen the 0G roll, chili dip, and barrel roll kind of start to come together before passing over the arcade. However, the past couple weeks, we haven't seen much here as we anticipate the start of the barrel roll as it passes over the arcade. And that's where I think I've got some pretty big news. Remember those two pieces of track that have been sitting back in the woods for a while now that is speculated would eventually be becoming the barrel roll? Well, we finally saw something change there this week. I've been showing them for weeks, just waiting for something to happen. And this week, we've got white supports that are now officially bolted onto the track. This is similar to what we saw with the Raven Truss dive prior to it going vertical. Looking back at some old footage, you can see some of these supports here, bolted onto the track before they were raised up by the crane and dropped into place. Now this still could sit for a few more weeks before we see it go vertical, but I think we're going to be seeing it sooner rather than later. Which leads me to our next update. I went from the back of the park straight up to the front to check in on the progress in front of the arcade right before the barrel roll was going to rip over it. And this is where I found RMC actively working, getting that big drop installed. Last week I wondered how high the big drop would be and what the angle of descent could potentially be as well. The double up was still climbing into the sky, and we weren't sure when it was quite going to top off. However, this week, we definitely know, as we can see the angle of descent starting to form for the big drop. The double up is maxed out in height, and if you look at where the barrel roll is going to be as it goes over the arcade, the big drop does not have much room to reach ground level and then go straight back up over the arcade. The angle of descent here should be pretty wild. And to think that this is almost as tall as the first drop on Twisted Cyclone is just insane. It won't be quite as tall, but it'll definitely rival it in intensity, and it's this late in the ride. Some great coasters start with a drop like this. ArieForce One is just continuing through its layout like nothing happened. Up against the arcade, we haven't seen anything new here, but it wouldn't surprise me if we see something here within the next few weeks, based off of what we're seeing back in the woods and the progress in the big drop. RMC is really closing in on having all the supports up, and there isn't many white supports left laying around. There's a few back behind the arcade and the ones laying here in front, but after this big drop goes in and the Outerbank airtime hill gets wrapped up, it's only track that's left. While we're on the topic of all the supports, let's check out this angle of where the ticket booth is. This thing is getting absolutely swallowed up by ArieForce One, at least from this angle. Looking from this angle now, you can see that there's a clear walkway to get to and from it, and another one as well where we're probably going to be entering the ride and visiting future attractions that Fun Spot installs. I tried to grab the best angles I could of the double up and big drop from this angle, but they're just so massive that I had a hard time stepping back far enough or zooming out on my camera to get them all in shot. I think this combo is destined to be the sleeper element on the ride. I've said it once before, not just once, I've said it many times before, and I'll continue saying it until this ride opens. And who am I kidding? If it does perform the way I think it will, I'll probably be saying I told you so. Stepping away from this section of the ride now, let's go check in on the Outerbank airtime hill. And guys, holy cow. RMC practically doubled the progress on the support front just from last week. Last week we started to see the angle as they got about maybe a third or halfway through with the track. But now we can see the supports starting to drop off of the Outerbank airtime hill and what that angle of descent is going to look like, as well as the banking. And it's going to be absolutely insane. Based off the way that track is being added to Outerbank airtime hill, I suspect the track is going to start getting installed here before we see it down to the barrel roll, and the barrel roll may be the last thing we get to see installed. Once the supports all get installed, which are only a few weeks away, that track is going to fly into place within a week or two. Now just remember, the Outerbank airtime hill is going to return down to ground level about this area right here. Let's take a look at where it is now, and now where it's going to end up. Hopefully these shots put into perspective just how large, but also whippy, this element is going to be. You should get absolutely yanked over this Outerbank airtime hill, unlike any of the other ones that RMC has created up to this point. Now, let's move on to my last updates that I've got, and I think they could be the biggest from this past week. This past week, a new shipping container arrived on site. Now while I don't have x-ray vision and I can't see inside of it, I can speculate about what might be in there. And there could be probably one of two things. It could be something for the station, or it could be the remainder of one of the trains. Now, based off of some boxes I found nearby that were for an air conditioning unit, makes me wonder if this could be for the queue or the station itself. I guess only time can tell what we'll find in here, but it's fun to think about it. It's yet to be seen if this station and queue will be themed at all, but this storage container could have answers. Another fun little thing I saw while I was walking back to my car was this blueprint that had blown away from the ride. I went ahead and took a picture of it just because I thought it was cool. You can really see how RMC puts this together like a puzzle. It's really a meticulous process, step by step, that gives me a newfound appreciation for what they're doing. So once again, thank you so much on behalf of myself and everyone else watching. Even though ArieForce One has been delayed until 2023, the excitement remains the same and everyone seems thrilled to be able to ride this ride for the first time. Thank you all for watching. That was the 29th of many ArieForce One construction updates to come. If you don't want to miss out on more construction updates like this, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, as many more of these will be coming out leading up to the opening of the ride. If you haven't already, then also be sure to follow Georgia Coast Connection over on Instagram, your home for all things ArieForce One. If you're feeling inclined, then you can follow me as well at Dr_Coaster. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright now, don't forget to check out the new channel update to see how you can be in one of these construction updates.